So since free agency has started, we've talked ad nauseum about all the great moves that the Washington Commanders have made, from trading for Deebo Samuel to trading for Laremy Tunsil to a lot of free agent signings that we think can help contribute to this roster. However, things aren't perfect, and for that matter, no team roster is perfect. As for the Washington Commanders, I'm sure there's some players that they wish they could have re-signed but chose not to. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at all of the players that the Washington Commanders let walk in free agency and chose not to resign, and see if they're going to regret letting these guys walk. Let's talk about it.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career and he's already milking injuries? Like,
stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We have the Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at players the Washington Commanders decided not to resign and talk about could they possibly be regretting letting these guys walk. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so it'll greatly appreciate it if you haven't reached that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Let's get straight to it. Now, the Washington Commanders chose to re-sign a handful of guys, key guys that contribute to this team, such as Marcus Mariota via his leadership with Jaden Daniels, bringing back guys like Noah Benogany, and a slew of other ones. However, there were some key guys that going into free agency I thought the Washington Commanders were going to re-sign and chose not to. The first guy for me is wide receiver Dyami Brown. Now, listen to me when I say this. Dyami, over the course of his 4 years here in Washington, didn't necessarily put up crazy stats. However, after the postseason he just put up, it seemed as if his trajectory was just going upward. And the Washington Commanders definitely loved what they got out of him, and for me, he felt like a lock to return to the city. However, when free agency got kicked off and Dyami wasn't really a priority for the Washington Commanders, and he started to retweet what Dante Fowler was saying on Twitter, the writing was on the wall that Dyami Brown was no longer going to be on the burgundy and gold in 2025. Now, with Dyami Brown, again, like I said, his production on the stat sheet doesn't show up, but the trajectory coming out the postseason that he had definitely had me excited for the future of DB. What I think Washington is going to miss the most about Dyami Brown is he was one of the few only wide receiver weapons that could take the top off of a defense. Outside of Terry McLaurin, Dyami Brown's the only guy on this roster that can stretch the defense on a consistent basis and really be a true burner. Again, we don't have that with the loss of Dyami Brown. Now, I get it. He signed a one-year deal, $12 million, and Washington probably didn't view him as, important. They felt like they can find a Dyami Brown replacement in the draft or in free agency, which again, theoretically they could, because the production over the 4 seasons wasn't necessarily there, but the skill set of having the speed, having good hands, having the ability to block down the field on screens, I felt like his trajectory was going up, and I definitely thought he was going to be back here in the burgundy and gold. And last thing I'll say on Dyami Brown is he's a guy that you don't lose sleep over. Trust and believe. You can find a million Dyami Browns out there, but again, since he had connection with Jaden Daniels that seemed to be brewing, and since he's really close friends with Terry McLaurin, he was like one of the only Commander players at Terry McLaurin's wedding. It just felt like Dyami Brown belonged here in the burgundy and gold. But I wish him all the best in Jacksonville, and maybe it was a one-year deal for a reason. He got away, and next year he comes back to Washington. Who knows? Now, the next guy the Washington Commanders chose not to resign was edge rusher Dante Fowler. Now, Dante Fowler had a really good year last season. Similar to Dyami Brown's explosion in the postseason, Dante Fowler was a guy I expected to be back here in Washington. He was one of our only true pass rushing threats. Now, granted, he wasn't the best in the run stuffing department, and he kind of went ghost in the postseason, but for the regular season he turned in, he was creating plays like it was no other last season. From getting sacks to getting a pick 6 in the game against the Panthers, he was all over the field last year, and he kind of played with a tenacity that was missing from the rest of the defensive line. Now, seeing what he got from the Dallas Cowboys, it kind of of made me a little bit surprised that we wasn't able to outbid them or give him slightly more money than the Dallas Cowboys to bring him back to Washington, because the way he was tweeting on social media and how he felt like he was being disrespected, I thought he was going to at least sign for a multi-year deal worth like at least 20 mil or something like that coming off the season he just had. But 1 year, $8 million, and we wasn't able to keep him, kind of makes me feel like we offered him a 2-year, $4 million deal a season, which totaled out to 8 years, and he's probably like, nah, man, if I'm going to only get $8 million for a contract, I might as well just sign a 1-year deal, and I'm 30 years old, I'm only getting older. So that's just my thought process of why we weren't able to retain him, because it's kind of shocking that we wasn't able to, considering the fact that he was so cheap. Now, thinking about it from the Washington Commanders standpoint, if you look at the trajectory of Dante Fowler's career, he's only had one other double-digit sack season. So maybe Adam Peterson's mindset was, we know he doesn't consistently put up these kind of numbers. This was just an anomaly of a season, so maybe we're better off letting him walk in free agency opposed to paying him more money, knowing that he doesn't have this kind of year on a consistent basis. And honestly, if that was the Washington Commanders' reason for not wanting to re-sign Dante Fowler, I totally understand and agree with this approach. Again, outside of last year, he's only had one other season in which he put up double-digit sacks. And Dante Fowler wasn't the best in run stopping either. Setting the physical edge is something that he lacked in as well. That's why Cleveland Furrow got re-signed over him, in my opinion, because Clee could set a physical edge. Cleveland can't get out to the quarterback, but he definitely can assist in stopping and running. That was our biggest weakness heading into this year's free agency, is we needed to get beefier at the defensive line. That being said, the Washington Commanders are losing their best pass rusher from last season in Dante Fowler, as outside of Tay Fowler, the only other person that was getting pressure on the quarterback was Frankie Louvu. And if it wasn't Dante Fowler or Frankie Louvu, we were pretty short when it came from the edge rusher department. Now, Washington did potentially find his replacement in Jacob Martin, who is a physical and athletic freak. However, he does have a lot of untapped potential that Washington is hoping they can extract for 1 year. Now, Washington also has a young fella in Javonte Jean-Baptiste, who's going into his second year, who I think could take a huge stride at the edge rusher department. But all in all, it is very true that Washington's edge rushers are very weak right now, but that is going to make Joe Wood Jr. have to tap into his creative bag this season with moving a guy around like Javon Kinlaw that you just brought in on a 3-year deal, and a slew of other guys. And again, he's a guy that you don't lose sleep over. Dante Fowler was good, but he's not a guy that does this on a consistent basis. It's kind of rare. So Washington picked up on that and decided to go in a different direction. I can't be mad at that at all. The next player the Washington Commanders allowed to walk in free agency, and I genuinely think they're going to regret this, was cornerback Benjamin St-Juste. This guy was such a stud for us over the last 4 years of his career, and I generally don't know what Adam Peters was thinking. This is the first time since being here that I had to truly question a move that he made. Roll the greatest DB highlight tape of all time. I don't know about y'all, but after seeing that, Benjamin St-Juste is definitely first ballot Hall of Fame and deserves to be in the conversation with the best cornerback in the NFL right now.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No.
Alright, Slim, joke's over. You gotta leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you fell for it. Who genuinely thought I felt bad that we let go of Benjamin St-Juste? If you fell for it, leave it down below in the comments section. Getting back serious and on track, the next player the Washington Commanders allowed to walk in free agency and chose not to resign was safety Jeremy Chinn. Now, this one was a little bit interesting to me as well, because similar to all the other guys on the list, they played pretty well for the Washington Commanders last year, and it was no different for Jeremy Chinn. Now, granted, he's not the best in coverage, and a lot of fans believe he's slow, and he didn't tackle the best in the NFC Championship game, but no one really did. I definitely thought he played well in this scheme, taking a chance where he decided to turn down larger money from a team like Pittsburgh last season to join the Washington Commanders. I felt like Jeremy Chinn was really solid. Now, Jeremy Chinn falls into the category as the rest of the guys we already talked about. He was solid here, but he's not a world beater. He's not someone that you lose sleep over losing. In fact, I genuinely think Will Hurst, the guy that we brought in to replace Jeremy Chin, is going to be significantly better than him. If you go watch the video that I made on Will Hurst after we signed him, he had better coveraging stats and better tackling stats than Jeremy Chin. In every single category these guys did a side-by-side after the 2024 season, Will Hurst was significantly better in every single category. And if you ask the Washington Commanders fans what was one of their biggest gripes with the defense last year, it's going to be tackling. Getting Saquon Barkley, getting Jahmyr Gibbs, getting Bijan Robinson to the ground is something that we struggled in. And I'm not saying that's an easy task by any means, but definitely if you have a shot one-on-one, mano-a-mano with these guys, Will Hurst is the guy that you would prefer to have over Jeremy Chin. Not to mention our current new safety is a better ball hawk than Jeremy Chin and has better sideline-to-sideline speed, and as a safety, the last line of defense most of the times, you gotta have that ability to get over top of the defense. Will Hurst and Jeremy Chin both signed similar deals, which has me thinking the Commanders genuinely think Will Hurst is a significant upgrade over Jeremy Chin, because the money that they gave Will Hurst, they could have gave Jeremy Chin. And remember, prior to free agency starting, a report came out that Jeremy Chin was the most likely Commander to return to the roster in 2025. So it was a little bit shocking seeing that he did not return, but after seeing the upgrade that we made with Will Hurst, I love the move. And you guys know I've been saying it since we signed Will Hurst, I expect him to have a Frankie Louvu-esque impact on this defense in 2025. And I was going to talk about Jonathan Allen, but since he technically wasn't a free agent and we just released him and he signed with Minnesota, I'm not going to include him here on this video. I'm just going to wish Jonathan Allen the best, then Minnesota. Love you, J.A. The last person the Washington Commanders chose not to resign and allowed to walk in free agency was offensive tackle Cornelius Lucas. Now look, y'all, I'm going to be real. I didn't rank these jumps from most impactful loss to least impactful loss. I'm going to leave that up to y'all down below in the comment section. However, I did just put a list together of key guys and key free agents that I think the Washington Commanders could potentially regret losing. And this one right here, Cornelius Lucas, is the most one I think is likely to be regretted by the Washington Commanders. You think about it, Cole Luke was here for 4 years and he was so consistent in his role as a swing tackle. He's going to be dearly missed. You know how many times Cole Luke came in a clutch when Charles Leno was ass? How many times he came in a clutch when that right side of the line was trash? Cole Luke held it down, and I definitely felt like he was going to be gone in free agency, so it didn't really affect me too much because I knew the writing was on the wall, essentially due to his age and due to the money that he was going to command. I felt like he was going to be gone, but actually seeing that he was gone and knowing the role he played here and knowing that we may not have a replacement for him on the roster right now definitely hurts. Having that guy that you could just turn to that could play left or right tackle if need be was so clutch and confident that we're desperately going to have to find that in this year's draft, because if we don't have a swing tackle, our depth didn't only take a hit at one position but practically two. Being a swing tackle for me is like a six-man in the NBA. You're not a starter, but you're so important and a key contributor to the team's success that you basically should be a starter. And the inconsistency that we had at the tackle position over the last few years, having a guy like Cole Luke step in again was so clutch and confident. Now, we did just bring in Laramie Tunsil via trade, so that clearly takes away the left tackle position, and we have plans to put Brandon Coleman at right tackle position more likely than not, so that kind of wipes away the need to have a Cole Luke if you want to put it that way. But in my opinion, I don't think so, because you need true depth. Now, we probably going to address the depth otherwise, like we did re-sign Trent Scott, and maybe we have Andrew Wiley go to the bench, but I think he's going to be right guard until Sam Cosmi comes back, and then maybe he can go to be that swing tackle coming off the bench. But I don't know. We have a hole and have something to come up with and have to have a plan, which I think they do. But I definitely am going to miss Cornelius Lucas because he was so clutch for us. But there you have it. Let me know what you guys think about this video down below in the comments section. Those are some of the key free agents that I think Washington allowed to walk that they may potentially regret. What says you down below in the comment section? Do you agree with this list? Do you have other free agents that I didn't mention that you think was important to the success last year and that you think Washington may regret losing? Leave it down below in the comment section. As always, being boy Juan Gotti, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so we greatly appreciate if you can reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.
Never gave a damn. Ballin' like I'm D-Sean, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a lawn.